So you've just opened your new Vilano road bike, and you've unpacked it, and you're ready to start building it. Tools you will need for this job include a cable cutter, which you can get at Walmart for about $5, a 10mm wrench, Allen keys. This is just a handy bicycle one that you can get at a local bike shop, and some grease. You may also need a wheel truing wrench, which you can get for about $5 at your local bike shop. To begin, you're going to grab your Allen tool and come to the front of the bike. You'll notice the fork is switched around. I'm going to turn that back. I'm going to loosen the bolts on the stem and install the handlebars. It's not necessary to tighten these all the way right now, as you will adjust the handlebars to your right height once the build is complete. You just want them basically tight enough so that you can use the shifters and the brakes so that you can tune both brakes and the derailleurs. Okay. Now we're going to install the shifters. The shifters come out of the bike to the corresponding side that they shift. So, with that in mind, you will also need a screwdriver. The shifters go to the corresponding side. They come out of the bike to the corresponding side that they need to be mounted on. Taking your screwdriver, you want to undo the screw. And slide it on, put it onto the handlebars near the stem. Once the clamp is around your handlebars, take the screw, slide it in through the clamp and into the bottom of the shifter, and start tightening this mechanism until it's almost tight. Once it starts to get tight, you're going to slide this down. You're going to slide this down so the numbers are visible from the top of the bike. Then, holding it at the position you like, you can completely tighten the screw. Now it's time to install the left shifter. Remember, when installing these shifters, you want to make sure the black shifter is next to the stem. So again, squeezing the clamp around, you want to come to the bottom, take the screw and your screwdriver, and install the shifter as well. Keep about a centimeter space between the actual stem and the shifter. And this is one you can clamp down all the way. So again, right and left shifters come out of the respective sides of the bike, and you can also know the right side shifter has numbers 7 through 1. The left side shifter just has the letters L and then an H. Next, we're going to install our pedals. Going to our parts box, we're going to grab our pedals, and you'll note that the pedals have an R for the right side and an L for the left side. Right and left are determined by standing at the back of the bike, right, left. You'll also notice that with the cages, the right cannot work on the left and vice versa. So, taking our grease, we're going to start with the right pedal, add a little bit of grease to a part of the thread, and come to your crank arm and add some grease to the threads as well. Next, put the pedal thread into the crank arm thread and spin these clockwise. Remember, right side, right pedal, clockwise. And you can usually finger tighten this. If not, make sure you have the right pedal. And if you do have the right pedal and it's still tough to tighten, it's not a problem. Just grab a wrench a 15 millimeter wrench, and continue the process. So now I've gotten this tightened with my fingers. I'm going to take a pedal wrench or a 15 millimeter. Now that the pedals are finger tightened, I'm going to take my 15 millimeter wrench, slide it onto the pedal, and pedal backwards to ensure that the pedal is truly tightened. First pedal forward and make sure your bike is in the gears that it should be in. Next, pedal backwards until the pedal gets to a point of high resistance, and then finish it with one more push. It's very important that this is very tight. Now coming to the left side, again I'm going to lube the pedal and the crank arm. Now it's very important to remember that this side, you screw the pedal in counterclockwise. So again, putting the threads together, I'm spinning counterclockwise. That is the opposite way that a clock turns. I'm going to finger tighten this until I get to a point where I can no longer tighten this with my fingers. And once I've reached that point, I'm going to take my wrench again, situate it on the pedal, and pedal backwards. And I'm going to pedal backwards until it gets tight, and once I'm at that point, I'm going to push down one last time to ensure that it's fully tightened. Again, remember, it's very important that these are extremely tight. Next step of installation, we'll install our seat post. We're going to take our grease and place a good amount into our seat tube. Next, we will take our seat post and put a little bit around the bottom of it. This setup has a quick release. You want to ensure that it's loosened fully so that you can place your seat post into the seat tube. From here, I can screw the seat tube bolt. And tighten that down. Now I'm ready to install my seat. I've loosened the bolt at the bottom of the seat post enough so that I have a lot of play, and then I turn the top part perpendicular to the bottom. I then take the seat and the rails, and I sit the seat onto the bottom part and push up on the top part and spin it into place. Then I put my finger on the clamp to hold it in place, and take my 5 millimeter Allen wrench and tighten the seat. It's not very important right now that the seat height is perfect. What is important right now is that the seat is level. So once I get close to being tight, I'm going to come to the side of the bike, center the seat using the numbers on the seat post, and then I take a step back and I look to make sure the seat is level. As you can tell right now, it is not, and it needs to come down a little. To do so, you may have to loosen the bolt at the bottom just a bit. Now that your seat is positioned on the seat post, you can lightly tighten it and leave it as it is. It's okay that it's wobbling and moving. We're going to adjust that at the end to fit. Next, we're going to install the front wheel. In our parts box, we have a quick release mechanism. Our quick release mechanism consists of a nut, a spring, another spring facing it, a washer, and a quick release clamp. With the wheel between our legs, we're going to unscrew the bolt, pull that off, and just pull one spring off, leaving the other spring and setup on that side. This side is going to go on the left side of the rim, or the non-drive side. Slide the bolt through the hub, put the spring on, with the smallest side facing the wheel, and then follow that with the nut. Just a few turns is good for now. It's very important that when you install this wheel, you take the bike out of the stand, because if you don't, you could install the wheel off-center, which will make braking and riding very uncomfortable. So placing the bicycle down, slide the wheel into the fork and put it down. Now to show you, I'm going to push down, which will give me a centered wheel in my fork. I could also lay my stomach or chest down on top of the bike, and leaving the quick release open, which is the open position, leaving the quick release in the open position, I can now screw the bolt down until it's fairly tight. Once it's almost tight all the way, I want to flip the quick release, and when I flip it all the way like this, when I flip it halfway, I should feel a good amount of resistance. Not too much so that I can't flip it, and not light resistance so that it just flips over. Right now I'm at about optimal resistance, and I'm going to go ahead and put the clamp down. We can now move the bike back into the stand. So you've just opened your new Vilano road bike, and you've unpacked it, and you're ready to start building it. Tools you will need for this job include a cable cutter, which you can get at Walmart for about $5, a 10mm wrench, Allen keys. This is just a handy bicycle one that you can get at a local bike shop, and some grease. You may also need a wheel truing wrench, which you can get for about $5 at your local bike shop. To begin, you're going to grab your Allen tool and come to the front of the bike. You'll notice the fork is switched around. I'm going to turn that back. I'm going to loosen the bolts on the stem and install the handlebars. It's not necessary to tighten these all the way right now, as you will adjust the handlebars to your ride height once the build